Here's the thing about ancient humans that nobody really talks about. They didn't have deodorant, they didn't have soap, they didn't have a shower, a bathtub, a scented candle to mask the fact that they'd just spent 3 days dragging a dead animal across a field. And they were absolutely everywhere, sharing sleeping spaces, huddled around fires, living in tight groups of 20 to 50 people with essentially zero personal space and no running water anywhere within walking distance. So the obvious question is, did they smell terrible? The answer is more interesting than you'd expect, and it says something genuinely surprising about what smell actually is, where it comes from, and why your nose works the way it does. Let's start with the basics. Body odor, the kind humans produce, doesn't actually come from sweat itself. Sweat is mostly water. What produces the smell is bacteria, specifically the bacteria that live on your skin and break down the compounds in sweat into smaller molecules that your nose can detect. The two main culprits are a type of bacteria called Staphylococcus and a group called Porionobacterium, and they produce fatty acids and thioalcohols that your brain interprets as that sharp, distinctive human smell. Here's where it gets interesting. Ancient humans had different bacteria. Not completely different, but their skin microbiome, the community of microorganisms living on their bodies, would have been shaped by a fundamentally different environment than the one that shapes ours. Modern humans bathe with antibacterial soap, use synthetic detergents, apply antiperspirants that physically block sweat glands, eat processed food, take antibiotics, and live in climate-controlled spaces. All of these things change which bacteria thrive on your skin. Ancient humans did none of this. Their skin microbiome was richer, more diverse, and in many ways more balanced, not because they were clean, but because they hadn't systematically disrupted it. Some researchers studying hunter-gatherer populations today have found that communities with minimal contact with modern hygiene products actually have a different odor profile than Western populations. Not necessarily worse, just different, earthier, less sharp, more in line with the surrounding environment.
Which brings up a second thing most people don't consider: what ancient humans ate. Your body odor is significantly influenced by your diet. Garlic, onions, red meat, alcohol, and processed food all change the chemical composition of your sweat and breath. Ancient humans ate a diet that was heavy in lean, wild game, plant roots, berries, nuts, and seasonal fruit, none of which produce the sharp, ammonia-heavy odor associated with high-protein modern diets or the processed food compounds that show up in modern sweat. They also drank water, mostly just water. No alcohol most of the time, no coffee, no sugar-laden drinks. Their internal chemistry was cleaner, which meant what came out through their skin was different too. Now, let's be honest about the parts that were genuinely unpleasant. Ancient humans had no toothbrushes. Dental hygiene was essentially non-existent. Archaeological evidence shows widespread tooth decay and gum disease in ancient populations, conditions that produce severe bad breath. When you meet someone today with advanced gum disease, you notice it immediately. A campfire full of people with untreated dental conditions would have been noticeable in a way that's hard to fully imagine. Ancient humans also had no way to launder clothing. Animal hides and plant fiber cloth were worn continuously, soaking up sweat, blood, smoke, and food residue over weeks or months without being cleaned. The smell of the clothing would have been its own separate issue from the smell of the person wearing it. There's also smoke. Ancient humans spent a significant portion of their lives around open fires, for warmth, for cooking, for protection. Smoke permeates everything: hair, skin, clothing, sleeping areas. Modern researchers who have spent time living in traditional smoke-filled environments report that the smell becomes so embedded in everything around you that you stop registering it entirely. It's possible that the dominant ambient smell of an ancient human group was simply smoke, which, honestly, a lot of people find more tolerable than body odor. Here's the part that most people miss entirely. Ancient humans almost certainly didn't smell bad to each other. Smell is not an objective measurement. It's a signal your brain interprets based on context, familiarity, and expectation. Your brain actively filters out smells you're accustomed to, a process called olfactory adaptation, which is why you stop noticing the smell of your own home within minutes of arriving, even if guests notice it immediately. A group of ancient humans living together, eating the same foods, sleeping in the same spaces, would have adapted to each other's smell completely. It was background noise. The signal their noses were actually calibrated to detect was not, is this person clean, but is this person sick, is this person healthy, is this person genetically compatible with me?
Human smell carries genuine biological information. Studies on immune system genetics have shown that humans are attracted to the smell of people whose immune genes, specifically a cluster called the MHC complex, are different from their own. This probably evolved because different immune genes produce more resilient offspring. Your nose is doing real work. It is reading actual data. Ancient humans were doing this constantly in close proximity, which means smell was not primarily a problem to be solved. It was a communication channel. They didn't think of themselves as smelling bad because bad wasn't the frame. The frame was, does this person smell like my group? Does this person smell healthy? Does this person smell like someone worth getting closer to? So, did ancient humans smell bad? Probably not to each other, probably different from us in ways that are hard to reconstruct, probably worse in specific ways, the teeth, the clothing, the accumulated smoke and animal residue, and probably better in others, less chemical, less processed, more aligned with the environment they were living in. If you could go back and stand downwind of a group of ancient humans sitting around a fire, you'd notice it. You'd probably wrinkle your nose. But here's the thing. They'd notice you, too, and from where they were standing, the combination of synthetic fabric, deodorant, shampoo, and whatever you had for lunch would have smelled just as foreign, just as strange, just as difficult to place. The nose, it turns out, has always been in the eye of the beholder.